Hello, my very good people. I remain your humble Mr. Lawrence Chikezi. Um, I want to talk about something I came across on the social media. Um, in reference to somebody, I used to know him in Nigeria years back, and he was in one of these podcast stations, and I heard what he said. He was asked about the issue of the um, the bringing about or the origination or those who were behind the foundation of Nollywood. You know, those who were behind the um, founders of Nollywood in Nigeria, and I was somehow disappointed by the way and manner he tried to dodge uh, the issue and refused to give credit to those who deserve that credit. Um, Probably, I think for me, he sounded like somebody who was tribalistic. He did not want to give what to Caesar that belongs to Caesar. And that's why I'm doing this video, and I want to put the record straight. The question was straight. He was asked who were the originators of the Nollywood home video. And let's not deviate about it. Let me be straightforward. Um, if there was anybody or any group of people that started this thing that was called, or that is called Nollywood Nigeria, was my Igbo people. And the concept of the Nollywood all started by just one particular movie, and that movie was Living in Bondage. You know, it was as a result of that movie called Living in, the home video, not a movie, a home video movie, that brought about the entire body or the entire um, body frame that finally manifested to become what was known as Nollywood movie in Nigeria. Without that movie called um, uh, Living in Bondage, there wouldn't have been anything like Nollywood movie in the first place. I will come and explain better. Um, First of all, the gentleman wanted, like somebody who wanted to use salt, water, sugar, and oil mixed together into one cup in order to make himself sound relevant. You see, he wanted to use uh, one of our greatest actors in Nigeria. I'm talking about the person of late Pa Habat Ogundi, the theater artist himself, the act himself, the symbol of art in Nigeria himself. He wanted to use him and also use people like Orlando Martins, the man who was already who made his name internationally in abroad when he was acting with late former President Ronald Reagan, and also wanted to use our own able icon and legendary Olu Jacobs, who had already made his name internationally where he was acting in London then, as a way of you know cajoling people to believe that it was in respect of their effort that Nollywood came about. No. First of all, let me break this down. Um, late Pa Herbert Ogunde himself was a man who had every branches in him. I'm not going to take away his qualities because I have a lot of respect for late Pa Herbert Ogunde. He was a theater artist in every forum. He was into anything, acting, directing, um, you know, making of writing scripts. Even he was a singer. He was a drummer. He was an artist. He could draw. He could do art, craft works. He believed in the entire body of art. So, but let's not forget one thing about late Pa Herbert Ogunde. He would never made anything called home video movies. No, he was a filmmaker. You know, this cinema people made this. You know what they call this cinema movie. That was what he was doing. He used to make cinema movies, the international kind of cinema movies. That was what uh, Herbert Ogunde was known for. So he also had time to build a theater village where people could go there and shoot all kind of movies. Then when he was alive, so uh, Herbert Ogunde was never involved in making of this thing you call home videos. He was known as a filmmaker. I remembered years back when I was a young man, or a young boy when I was in high school. I remembered in the 80s, early 80s, when he was shooting that movie called Aye, the Aye film. He was making that film. Part of that film was shot at Ikoyi Park in Lagos. Those of you who know Ikoyi very well, he came and did some of the shooting at Ikoyi Park. I saw that series myself. I saw when that film was shot. That particular area where that guy was like flying from ground to the tree. I saw that myself when I was a very young man. I was in high school. Even it was at that particular period, one of the female actresses who came and saw me, and she began, to encourage me, telling me if I like acting. She began to tell me the qualities and the importance of why it is good to be an actor or an actress. She motivated me. I was there to see that when they were shooting that scene. So I understand what it takes to be making films. It was a different thing. Making of films was different. It's not like when you want to shoot a home video. So on that regard, late Pa Herbert Ogunde had nothing to do with making of home videos. Now, let me not make this mistake, and let me just put this straightforward to remind you people that even in the 80s, in the 80s, we used to have Yoruba home videos. Yes, in the 80s, we used to have the Yoruba homemade videos. But these Yoruba homemade videos were only, they had their audience. They specifically limited their audience to Yorubas, because everything about that Yoruba home videos were about Yoruba culture, Yoruba environment, and they use Yoruba language to have done most of those Yoruba movies then. And to make it the matter worse, the quality of those videos then, they were using just one camera. The quality of those videos then were very poor. You could see the shadows behind and everything. But just because they love it and they just want to do their thing, they were doing it. There was never a time any Yoruba millionaire or Yoruba woman who is a millionaire or Yoruba man who was a millionaire ever came to say, okay, let me use my money to invest in this Yoruba home videos so that they can grow and they will be able to use money to make a better home video. No, it remained that way staggeringly, and they were doing it. So in the 80s, Yoruba home video was there, so you can't take it away from them. But those Yoruba home videos have nothing to do with Nollywood home videos. Now, let me bring you forward. If some of you can remember, in the 90s, we used to have a lot of soap operas. Those of you who can remember, we used to have a lot of soap operas. Some of these TV series, um, like Behind the Cloud, Mind Bending, Ripples, Checkmate, and just name, just but some few. We used to have a lot then. So, but at a certain time, you know, uh, you know, the issue was those people who were producers of those films were individuals. They were never owned by the NTA or any of the TV channels. It was like at that time, an individual will have a script, then they will look for money and then go and make up what they call a pilot uh, TV project TV video. So that pilot, after making those pilot videos, they will use it and go to some of the companies seeking for sponsors. Those companies that will come and sponsor that um, TV series, like having the money to pay for the airtime at the TV station, having the money to pay the artists that will take part in the continuous series of that TV drama, and also having money to pay their production crews. So it was very paramount that people have to go and seek for sponsorship from some of these companies. So these companies were having it, in their hands to see that their products were being shown, like commercials, whenever those programs were being aired, whenever these dramas were being aired on TV. So at a certain time in the 90s, late 90s, the harsh economy began to, affect some of these companies who were sponsoring some of these soap operas at the TV stations. So it affected some of the producers, and they could no longer have money to pay the artists, pay for the airtime, and then before you know, so many of these soap opera TV series, they all faded away from the TV stations. And as you know, this TV series dramas were household names. I remember in those days, some people would need to run home to get home before 8 p.m. just to go and watch Checkmate. Is it Ripples? Is it Behind the Cloud? Or is it, I just name them. So Nigerians, we are very much, in love in watching those soap operas then. That was the in thing. But, the then when this economic hardship began to began to affect some of these companies, and they were no longer coming forward to sponsor some of these drama series on TV. So the people that came with this living in bondage, we are also having the idea of using it as a kind of a TV series. So, but they looked at it and saw that it economically, due to the economic situation, that they may not be able to get sponsors to air, to be able to do it. So they decided to change the idea, and then decided to make it into a home video movie. So they came with the concept. So what did they do? This Igbo group of people, what did they do? They now went and went to these Igbo marketers, this Alaba, Nnewi boys, this money Miss Road boys, these millionaires who were at Alaba International, these Igbo boys and Onitsha. They went and talked to them, and then they agreed. Some of them brought their money, and they were able to package. They shot those that living in bondage. It was well shot, and it was well packaged, well edited, and packaged in this the video cassette. They packaged it very well, and then another Igbo man who got money came and marketed it. So and the good thing was that this living in bondage was done on Igbo language. The actors were Igbos. The producers decided to go around and they selected some of these household, well-known actors who were igbos, and they brought them, and used them to have shot that Living in Bondage, and then they subtitled it in English in order to give audience to non-Igbos to enjoy that video. So when this video came out, they began to sell this video, and it became a hit. It became a bank. This thing sold out. The marketers, the producers, they all went in and they cashed out. So it became a household name. The Living in Bondage was in everybody's tongue. Anywhere you go, people ask you, have you watched Living in Bondage? So it became something that went viral in Nigeria, across Nigeria. Whether you are an Igbo man, or you are Yoruba, Hausa, Bini, Calabar, Benue, just name it. People were watching it. Nobody knew that Nigerians were very much that interested in watching home videos like that. So the moment that Living in Bondage came out to become a bank, some group of people went again and then did their own. This time it was the blood money. It was called blood money, but this time they did not use Igbo language. They used English language to have done the blood money. And when the blood money came out also, the sponsors, the marketers, and those who were behind all this were Igbo Alaba boys, those Igbo traders who had their millions to sponsor that project. So when blood money came out, it became a bank. It sold out. It went viral just like Living in Bondage. Before anybody could say Jack, one of our very popular and famous director or producer, I know, I'm sure most of you may have known her. I'm talking about the late Amaka Igwe, who was the producer of Checkmate then. That Checkmate, the soap opera program then at the TV stations. She now came out and made her own video, home video that was known as Rattlesnakes. She came out and made Rattlesnake Part 1. Part 1 was a bank. That changed the entire thing. The concept, everything. The concept, the storyline, everything. This time around, it was just like a complete home video movie. Then before you know, the demand, people were demanding. The demand was there, and because of the demand across, the popular demand by Nigerians, she went again and did part 2 of Rattlesnake. So, and that part 2 became a bang too. So that was where, my Igbo people love business. They love to make profit. They like where the money is sweet. These Igbo boys, some of them began to put their hands into it, began to throw their money around. Whether the script was good or whether the script was not good, they would throw their money, they would package anything that was available. People began to make all kinds of home videos, all different, thousands. Every week you keep seeing out all kinds of new home videos. Then we had the likes of the comedy people. They came out with comedy. You remember the Aki and Popo stories? You could remember those days. So those Aki and Popo, the two guys, they were a bank. They sold out anywhere they call like Aki and Popo came out. Bank. Some locals came in. Bank. And Kemowo. Bank. Just keep naming them. These actors began to come, famous names, household names that were already known on these soap operas then. They came up and they began to take part in some of these home videos. Even some of these Yoruba artists who were acting in their Yoruba movie have to do a crossover. They began to take part in some of these home videos. So these home videos went across Nigeria. From Nigeria, it went across Africa. From Africa, it went international. It went global. It came to US, it came to Europe. The home video was everywhere. It got a time, the Nigerian home video movie was number 2 after US Hollywood movies. I'm talking about this Nollywood. So Nollywood became big. And at a particular time, those actors now who began to see that there are some non-professionals who do not have an idea on how to do movies. Some of them joined in and some of them began to do what they call inferior videos. And then what did they do? They decided to form what was called the Actors Guild Association within that Nollywood body. So they formed it in order for them to regulate the actors and the directors and those who were involved in making these home videos. So that was how Nollywood came about. The Nigerian Nollywood came about. It came about from that thing called home videos, which was started by that video called Living in Bondage, which was an Igbo home video. It was it was made in Igbo language, made by Igbo actors, made by Igbos with their money, the concept, the idea, and it was subtitled in English. So without that Living in Bondage, there wouldn't have been anything called Nollywood in the first place. So I'm trying to use this to correct the narrative that that brother was trying to say in that podcast. And I'm trying to make it clear that the whole video was a concept. The Nollywood movie was the concept of the Igbos. It was the Igbo man, the Igbo people. It was their concept. It was their language. It was their money. It was their investment that brought about the issue of Nollywood movies in Nigeria. So that's exactly what I want to say, put straight. For those of you who know me, I am not a tribalist. I'm very detribalized person, and I don't discriminate about people, but I like to put the record straight. The Igbo people were the people that started, or that were the originators of Nollywood home videos. So without the Igbos, there wouldn't have been anything called Nollywood. So I remain your humble Mr. Lawrence Chikeze. Thank you very much.